Circles are hard to draw. Maybe if I start with the circle, and then I'll draw the crosshairs. Is that any better? That looks a little better, right? Okay, so let's go to 5 pi 6. I believe it's like right about here-ish. When I do the sine of 5 pi 6, what is it going to be looking for? The y value. And we already know the values here at 5 pi 6. I believe it's going to be the x is square root of 3 over 2, a negative square root of 3 over 2, right? And is the y value 1/2? So the sine of 5 pi 6 is 1/2. Now that's only half the battle. Get it? Okay. Because what do we still need to do? We have to do the inverse sine. So when I do the inverse sine, I say, hey, which angle, if I look at the y value, or if I look at the sine, is 1/2? And are we going to get 5 pi 6? 5 pi 6 is an option, but it's not going to be the answer we get. How come? Because it's in the second quadrant. Are we using the second quadrant for sine? So which angle is in the first or fourth quadrant where the sine is 1/2? And you'd say what? Just pi 6, right? If I look at pi 6, it's right here. Its coordinates are a positive square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2. And so when we do inverse sine here, it's not going to choose the one in the second quadrant. It's going to choose this one, which was at pi 6. Which is what in degrees? Okay, so why don't we just change this to degrees, because we like degrees better. What is 5 pi 6 in degrees? Isn't it 150? Here's what I want you guys to do on your calculator. I want you to put in inverse sine of the sine of 150. And it's not just going to give you 150. Plug it in and see if it gives you 30 degrees. It did? How come? Why didn't it just cancel out to give you 150? Because that's the second quadrant. And where is inverse sine defined for? First or fourth. So here's the thing. Anytime you do inverse sine on your calculator, it's going to give you an angle between negative 90 to 90, assuming that you're in degrees, or negative pi halves if you're in radians. So you have to keep that in mind as you're doing this. Sometimes people on the test, they get lazy and they're like, oh, they cancel each other out to pi 9s. And sometimes they're right because the angle's already in the first or second quadrant. But sometimes they're wrong because it's not in here, or it's an angle that's coterminal between negative 90 and 90. So you got to check yourself on that. Do you have questions on what I just did there? Okay, let's just do one more and then we'll take a little break here, okay? So, how do you put these into your calculator? Let's just practice doing that, okay? With these ones, let's make sure you're in degrees and just practice putting those in and let's see what you do, okay? Okay, what did you get for the first one? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It says in radian mode. Are you guys in radian mode? How do you change your mode? You push the mode button, right? Change it to radians. Then do the inverse sine of negative 0.81. Shout out what you got. Okay, that's what I got. Okay, what about for B? What'd you get? You guys agree with those? This is just practice for you to do that. All right, okay. So that was sine What I want you to do is to just take a second to think about this, and we'll take a little break here. How could we do cosine? Remember how I drew a little piece before? How could I draw cosine so that it's 1 to 1, but then it also goes and uses all the y values, so it goes from 1 to -1? Think about that while we take a mini break here.